What's going on, Couch Fam? These are my NFL DFS picks for Week 12. We're concentrating on GPP picks, contrarian picks, punt plays, and those hidden gems, those not so obvious plays to help you with your lineups on DraftKings tournaments. And let's jump right into it. These are the quarterbacks. So this week I do have some cheaper options, but the top 5 elite is probably what I'll be going for personally quite a bit. I always do like to throw in at least 1 or 2 lineups, entries with less owned quarterbacks. So the elite options are going to be Kyler Murray going against the Patriots. He's the most expensive. Patrick Mahomes going against the Buccaneers. The defense might seem scary. Don't be scared of it. It's not that bad. Jared Goff did all right against them. Patrick Mahomes is better than Jared Goff. That's real analysis right there. And then Josh Allen, who's my favorite. I think he's got a great floor, great ceiling. This is a QB-centric offense, meaning that Josh Allen does everything. He runs the ball, he throws it, he scores the touchdowns. It's all him. Matchup is decent, even though Chris Harris might come back for the Chargers. They're still very banged up on that defense, and the defense has never really gelled. Hasn't even gelled for one game, not even against the Jets. So the defense sucks. It's tough to say that with all the great players on that team, but injuries and just lack of continuity, whatever. We don't care, right? Are you a Chargers fan? Of course not. No one's a Chargers fan. We don't care about that. All we care is how good the defense is, and they're not good. Of course, we're going to put Herbert back again. Justin Herbert, elite quarterback. Wow, that's crazy. But he is. I mean, he's balling every single week. I'm looking at, there's not one week where he didn't ball out. I guess week 3 against the Panthers, was that his first start? Like, come on. I mean, this guy's just insane, averaging nearly 30 fantasy points a game. That's crazy. If you got rid of those first 2 games, the first game where he was thrown in there kind of, and then week 3 he's more towards 30 points a game. That's super elite numbers. That's basically averaging what Patrick Mahomes, if we go from week 4 forward, he's putting up Mahomes numbers. And actually I do have a 5th elite option, and that's Tom Brady. I don't like to talk about these guys in these videos. That's why I'm going fast with these elite options. Now, Tom Brady, we talked about this before several times. He's very volatile. He's the ideal GPP quarterback because he's so up and down. But he does well against bad defenses, does poorly against good defenses. It's a pretty strong trend. You know, it's not exact or anything, but it's fairly strong. And what this is more so saying is, how good is your defense? Look at the Giants. They're not so bad, right? We've seen them. The Saints, pretty good defense. Panthers, not so good. So we're seeing how good defenses are. And this week, going up against the Chiefs defense, I'd say the Chiefs defense isn't good, but this is going to be more sort of a test of the Chiefs D. Maybe I'm wrong. They're really in between. We'll see. It's the Tom Brady test. That's how you test if you got a good defense or not. Depends on how good the Bucs do. Do they get a win, and how good Tom Brady does. So my cheap option, actually, I just want to talk about one guy because there's so many quarterbacks you can go with, like Derek Carr, who's getting a lot of hype and is very chalky, I would say. Just a lot of comments and messages I get are about Derek Carr, and so right now his stock is pretty high. His public perception is pretty good. He's at 5,700. You all know, guys, I mean, I could do this again. I could put Matt Ryan back on the thumbnail like I did that one week where everyone hated him. What week was that? Week 6, just off the top of, it was week 6. So that's when I was on Matt Ryan, and I did pretty well that week in DFS. won a good amount of money. He was putting up, look at this, 12 fantasy points, 12 fantasy points, 7. Then I was like, I'm going to go all in on Matt Ryan and Julio stacks, and it worked out week 6 against the Vikings, put up 35 fantasy points. He's basically in a similar situation again, going up against a terrible Raiders defense. Julio Jones has a really bad, or I should say really lingering hamstring issue that we just completely lost trust in Julio Jones. Todd Gurley's out. Just a lot of negative things about the Falcons right now. Matt Ryan has no hype, no faith in this guy. But against this bad defense, and it's a home game too, like on top of that. Home game, bad defense. Julio Jones is questionable, sure. But Matt Ryan has got it done in the past several times. He's been in millionaire lineups multiple times. And I just feel like this is another good chance to save and put up a contrarian pick. Now, I don't have much faith in him this week like I did against the Vikings, and that's really because of Julio Jones. But again, how many times are you going to be able to get Matt Ryan at under 5% ownership? It's very rare. And this could be one of those cases. I think we got, when I entered I think it was a big GPP. He was like 3% owned. I think Julio was like 1.5% owned. Like, it was really low. And it's not gonna be as low this week maybe, but it's definitely gonna be low. And definitely worth considering, I would say. Like I said, the trust is not really there for the Falcons offense this week. But I do trust the Raiders defense sucks. So that's what I do trust in. Speaking of the Raiders going up against the Falcons defense sucks. Josh Jacobs could be the best value and the biggest stud running back this week. He's only had like 2 baller games, right? Week 1 and then week 10 against the Broncos, who's got a decent run defense. They do okay against running backs. They contain them. They don't allow too many fantasy points against the running back position. What I was exactly trying to say. This week, great matchup. Should be a much, the Chiefs, you have to throw against the Chiefs. Like, you figured that. But this week against the Falcons, the Raiders are favored to win by a little bit. It's not going to be a blowout where the Raiders are going to need to throw the ball or anything like that. And probably not. They'll be able to run. And game script shouldn't matter too much. Like, just run the ball, score. In this game, this is what I'd be the most certain of. I'm not as certain about Aguilar. I like Waller. Not as certain about Derek Carr. Not as much as others. Not as certain about any Falcons player at all. The most certain thing I am is that Josh Jacobs is going to get his and score. I really, double-digit fantasy points is a guarantee. I know that's not enough for a GPP running back at a high price, but I think he should be much better than that. So hopefully he'll get us over 20 fantasy points, which is what we need out of Mr. Jacobs. No hype with this, huh? No hype here. Raheem Mostert, not a lot of hype, but he's back, and he's the workhorse. Hopefully he's healthy, and I think he is. He's got a long time to rest. Hasn't played since week 6. That's a long time, and with the bye week and everything, he should get a lot of carries. I'm assuming. And the Rams, they got a good defense, not the best against the running back position, though. I do like their pass defense, but yeah, I think there's a lot of room here for Mostert to do some things. Niners do not have the hype that they did last week, so you might be able to get him at a somewhat contrarier percentage ownership. Gallman, another player that has no hype. Matchup is great. Game script is great. Gallman is a borderline workhorse. Now, I'm not going to exaggerate and say he is the workhorse because he does get a lot of snaps taken away from him. But he's putting up borderline numbers like we saw last game against the Eagles. He did very well, 19 fantasy points, and he got 18 rush attempts and 2 targets. That's pretty much workhorse numbers there. He doesn't always put that up for sure, but at this price, you can't get too picky. And then we got James White. Absolutely love this pick here. He's definitely going to be heavily involved in the offense, more so if the Patriots are playing a little bit of catch up. Now, I just see him being used. I think the floor for a running back like him is pretty high. It's the upside I'm worried about. I like him because it's full PPR. He'll get you 5 catches. He'll be good. Last game, he got 6 catches. By the way, Rex Burkhead is out. That's why we're on the James White hype train here. He's priced at $4,500, by the way. And I got a ton of cheap options. Just going to go through them really quick. Frank Gore, $4,300, starting running back for the Jets. And sticking with that same team. This is welcome to the 4K club, by the way. $4,000 minimum price for running backs. Is this the right guy? Yeah, there we go. Ty Johnson, New York Jets, backup running back, pass catching running back. He might see a few targets when they're playing catch up. Chalky. We're going to need, I'm going to put it like this. We're going to need at least one pretty cheap wide receiver and probably one really cheap running back. We're going to probably need that this week. And Brian Hill, he'll be super chalky, but I love him. He should be really good. Now, he's not the most talented back, but he also doesn't have a ton of competition. Ito Smith might be thrown in there, maybe another running back, but Brian Hill pretty much split snaps last week with Todd Gurley. Is pretty close to a 50-50 split. I actually think Brian Hill got like a couple more snaps. So matchup is good. Price is good. Now, it won't be contrarian, so if you do go with Brian Hill, make sure you throw in some contrarian picks in there for GPPs, and you'll be fine. And then we have Samaje Perine. Although I'm expecting Gio Bernard to play, still wanted to at least mention this. Now, the Bengals play in the early slate, so we'll know for sure if Gio Bernard, who is questionable, will play or won't play. And even if he does, Samaje Perine probably will be like a 50-50 split or something like that. Just wanted to introduce you to another member of the 4K club. And of course, if Gio Bernard is out, Samaje Perine will be a workhorse. Probably not a good one. Going against the Giants with no Burrow. Probably not the best we do. Elite options for wide receivers. Stephon Diggs. There's no safer, expensive wide receiver this week than Stephon Diggs. Every game, this man gets double-digit targets. He's so dang consistent. And with the Chargers banged up, Casey Hayward is out. Desmond King got traded. And even though Chris Harris is coming back, he'll probably play the slot. And I don't think he will be covering Stephon Diggs. Maybe. But it is his first game. Nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. What matters is Stephon Diggs is going to get his targets. He's going to get his numbers. And every now and then we need a safe, good player like this because I go too contrarian more often than not. It's good to have about 2 to 4 contrarian picks. Sometimes I go, 4 to 6, and that is too much. So to balance that out in my life, I sometimes need a guy like Stephon Diggs in my lineups. All right. Robbie Anderson. Ooh, this one's nice. This one's nice here, guys. All right. Robbie Anderson started off hot. First 3 games. First 4 games, he's been pretty good. 5 games. First 5 games. So the first half, of his playing time, he's been good. Second half, not so much. He's been just below average. I mean, he's pretty much like barely startable in season-long leagues right now. And I think this is the matchup for him. The price is not right. The matchup is great. His cornerback matchup is great as well. He could be the number 1 highest scoring Panthers wide receiver this week. Absolutely love him. We're getting a guy who's upside. He can make big plays. Good matchup. And he's going to be contrarian. So the only bad thing about this is, a little bit of risk, which is what this is all about. We like picking risky players, so I guess that's not really it. So I guess the only bad thing is his price, and he's probably my favorite wide receiver in this whole video, because he's going to be so contrarian and he's got such big upside. The next guy is basically the exact same thing. Jamison Crowder was a wide receiver one, just amazing the first few weeks. And then once they started getting Perryman and Denzel Mims back, Jamison Crowder the past 3 weeks has been pretty bad. This is another one where Crowder's cornerback matchup, playing from the slot, might be the best matchup. He might see the most targets, and it's all about the Jets wide receivers. They use their wide receivers a lot, and they have to throw the ball a lot every game because they're always losing. Obviously, they're winless. So this could be a big bounce back game for Crowder, at least in terms of targets. Hard to predict everything else. The Jets, not an efficient team at all, but hey, if you're getting targets and your price isn't too bad, $5,400, it's not a great price. I'm gonna be honest. But let's just say this. It's still Jamison Crowder. It's still the Jets. They're still doing what they do, right? They throw the ball. They're behind. That's still there. We're getting Jamison Crowder, the guy who put up, 25 fantasy points a game, pretty much guaranteed. He's getting 20 plus a game. Now we're going to get him at a discount and also at a contrarian price. Everyone was picking Crowder before, right? But now no one's really on him, and I'm going to pick him. $5,400, by the way, going against the Dolphins. Then we have Sterling Shepard. I think he might have the best cornerback matchup of the Bengals. He might get the weakest cornerback on the Bengals, and if he draws that, he's been pretty good too. This could be a good game for him. We're going to need this man to get in the end zone, though, to really pay off. There's really not any other way because the Giants just don't put up enough points and they're just not an explosive offense. So we're going to need to get a little bit of luck. I think he'll get the targets. He'll get the catches. We're going to need a little bit of luck to get in the end zone because I'm not so sure he'll put up a ton of yards, no big plays. So we're going to need you to get in the end zone, Shepard. And against the Bengals, there's a chance. There's always a chance, baby. Price is excellent, by the way. And then we got Sammy Watkins, his first game back. Just a guy to consider. I'm not going to, say much more than that. But I really do see him as a number 2 wide receiver for the Chiefs. And there's still room against the Bucs, Jakeem Grant, really wanted to mention him really quick that he is questionable because I loved him this game. We'll see what's going on. It's a early game, so if he plays, maybe you want to consider him. 3,700 because he's a questionable tag right there, the red Q. He's going to be less owned. It's just the way it works. People get scared of it. And we got Keelan Cole. I do like this guy a lot. And he won't be contrarian, but I don't think too many people will be on him as well because the Jaguars have hurt our feelings quite a bit. And so some people's feelings are still hurt from last time that, Jaguars wide receivers out. Let's just start the next man up. And it hasn't worked out. So when something doesn't work out the first time, it usually works out the second time. And sometimes it's the opposite. When Julio Jones puts up 300 yards against the team, the second time he plays him, he only puts up like 69 yards. That's just the way it works. And this week, although Mike Glennon, I hate you a lot. I think you're absolute trash. Maybe he'll get the ball to Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole, ladies and gentlemen, number 1 wide receiver for the Jaguars this week. And we also got Laviska, by the way. But it is what it is. This is the GPP life, baby. That's the life we play. He's 3,600 going against the Browns, by the way. Keelan Cole is. Laviska is the next guy. Maybe he's the number 1 wide receiver. He's 3,300 on the same team. By the way, DJ Chark, Chris Conley, both out this week for the Jags. That's why we're talking about next man up for the Jags. And then we got Gabriel Davis. Not going to be super contrarian, but he's going to be super cheap. And with Chris Harris back, Gabriel Davis is almost certain, I'd say it's pretty certain, that he will draw the worst cornerback out of the 3 starting cornerbacks for the Chargers. You're going to figure Diggs will get the better corner. Second, the number 1 best cornerback or number 2 best cornerback. and or see a double team. You figure Cole Beasley might see Chris Harris, and then you got Gabriel Davis, who's certain to get single coverage and the worst corner and draw the worst cornerback matchup from the Chargers. So I do like him. We've seen him shine. What is it? 2 games maybe? 17 points. Yeah, he's had some okay. He's had some okay performances. Still, this is a punt, guys. And for a punt, if we're somehow able to get 10 fantasy points, that's pretty good. Minimum price, $3,000. Just wanted to make that super clear, ladies and gentlemen. Bills rookie wide receiver, Gabriel Davis. Tight ends. Just get Rudolph. I guess we could end the video with that. Get Rudolph. He's cheap. He's bound to pay off. But I did want to go with some other options. Jonnu Smith. I'm still a believer in you. I think you're amazing, man. You're a swell guy. 4,100. I'm a Jonnu Smith truther. I don't know what to say. Going against the Colts, I think he's going to have a lot of room to do some things. I think he'll get targets. I think he's got a lot of opportunities to get in the end zone. We'll see, though. And Hayden Hurst, again, it's the questionable thing. He's questionable. If he's really not hampered by this injury, I think he'll do good against the Raiders. He got 0 catches last game, 0 fantasy points. So he will be contrarian automatically. Price is not good. It's not bad either. 3,900. I can't talk. Jordan Reed, very good contrarian pick. Questionable illness. So he might not play, this and that, whatever. This is what I know. Jordan Reed is injury prone, high risk, high upside. Niners playing the later slate, okay? So they're playing the second wave of games. Now you put Jordan Reed as a tight end, you pick him. Check it 90 minutes before kickoff. Injury report's going to come out. If he's out, you got yourself a Ross Dwelly who's going to get all the snaps at tight end. And he's cheaper. So this is going to work out for you as long as you make sure to check. So you're going to have Jordan Reed, who no one's going to pick, at a cheap price. And then if he's out or if any bad reports come out, whatever, you can swap him out for Ross Dwelly. So I love this move. This is the contrarian life. This is the GPP life. This is how we do it. Just set your alarm so you don't forget. Oh my God, if you have a good lineup and you got Reed and he's out somehow, you're going to be so pissed because Ross Dwelly might go off. So yeah, do that. And it's going to work out, obviously. Ross Dwelly is cheaper than Reed. And it's going to free up some more cap space if you wanted to use it, but probably don't want to. But yeah, Kyle Rudolph's the man here. 2,800, almost minimum price. Irv Smith is doubtful. Also, on top of that, Vikings kick off early, so we will know for sure if Irv Smith is out 90 minutes before kickoff, and that way we'll be more comfortable starting Kyle Rudolph. No, contrarian. If Irv Smith plays and you still, if Irv Smith suits up, I'm going to say suits up, and you still play Kyle Rudolph, you're just going to get less percentage, and we don't even know how much Irv Smith would play if he could be an emergent, pseudo for emergency purposes. And then I wanted to give you guys a punt, and that's Tyler Eifert, 2,600. By the way, if you didn't know already, Mike Glennon sucks. So, and Tyler Eifert hasn't done much, but I just want to throw out one super punt for you guys out there that do a lot of mass entries and wanted to switch it up a little bit or save some salary cap space. Kyle Rudolph is the smart tight end. This is the stupid one, but he is $200 cheaper. Just wanted to throw that punt out there. For defenses, very simple analysis here. I love these 3 defenses, and I love them in the order they are priced. So it's no secret here. Dolphins D, 4,200, going against the Jets, but the best value defense would be the Giants D, because these prices seem to kind of come out with intention of Joe Burrow being healthy. Now that Joe Burrow is out, and they're not even going with Ryan Finley. which I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, everything's bad. I don't know. I just don't know which one's worse is what I'm trying to say. Which quarterback's better or worse, Ryan Finley or Brandon Allen? I don't know. They sound like they both suck. But Giants D could be the best value here. It's $1,000 cheaper than the Dolphins, and I project them to be pretty much the exact same. They're both equally as good. Now, I like the Dolphins slightly more. They're number one. They're ranked number one defense on my rankings. The Giants are number two, and really not much separating them. And then we got the Browns. So these are my top three options here. Browns D, missing a ton of players, but the Jags offense is missing a ton of players, and it kind of balanced it out. So whatever the Browns would have done against the Jags, Browns defense got injured, and the Jags are starting Mike Glennon and have a bunch of injuries. So I put it even down here. That's how big of a drop off the Jags are from, let's say, 10 weeks ago. Like it's looking awful. They're starting their third quarterback. Their top two wide receivers are it's just a complete mess. What's going on with the Jags? They're obviously tanking or trying out things, whatever. You know what when I say tanking, it's not a exact defined term, but you get what I mean. I think when I say tanking, they're playing for the future. They're thinking about the future, whatever the heck you want to say. They're certainly not playing for a Super Bowl this year. They're not that dumb to be like, oh, guys, we can still win a Super. No, you can't. Nobody would believe you. And if you want a cheap defense, which I don't really like, I got two for you. Broncos D going against Taysom Hill, who proved me wrong. But let's see how he does against a better team. The Falcons are not a better team. The Falcons are a poopy team. Broncos are less poopy team. The Broncos have surprised me, man. Defense is playing much better. Offense has had some good games, some ups and downs, some bumps in the road, some ups and bumps and downs and ups. Anyway, they're very cheap. They're the third cheapest defense. And then we got the Jets. Baby, tell me, is this the first win the Jets might get? This game could be much closer. I think the Jets got a shot at winning this. Not a good shot, but I think there's a realistic chance. What percentage chance? Comment below the percentage chance you think the Jets have of winning, beating the Dolphins week 12. I'm going to say 5%. It's just not great odds or anything, but I'm saying, come on, guys, 2,100. You could get a team who could be in a low-scoring game. Dolphins a bit banged up. Myles Gaskin might be coming back, might not. Salvin Ahmed has been ruled out. Preston Williams is out. Jakeem Grant is questionable. Tua is questionable. Just a lot of things right here that say this could be a low-scoring game. The Jets have an actual shot at winning this. I don't know if they want to win it, but when I see the Jets play, I like making fun of them, and I know they're tanking, but when I see them play, it doesn't look like they're that uninspired. Defense plays hard, at least maybe for a half. I don't know. All I'm saying is there's a shot. I'm not, banking on the Jets to be great. I don't love the defense, but I did want to throw them out as a punt. Now, the Dolphins, the team they're playing against, is exactly twice the price of the Jets. Just to give you an idea why I'm even entertaining this idea, this defense, it is very cheap. It's a punt, and if they don't put up negative points, it might not be that bad. Really, what will we need from the Jets? 2 is not good. If we got 4 fantasy points from the Jets D, that could pay off. 4 fantasy points. Let's say 5. Let's say five fantasy points could be pretty good from the Jets. I'd say, because that's going to free up 2,000. 2,000. That's a big difference. That's the difference from a terrible quarterback and the best quarterback, So it's a huge difference. I feel like I'm trying to convince myself to get the Jets. I have officially convinced myself on my own video. that I'm going to pick the Jets in more than one entry. If I'm doing a lot I haven't decided yet how many entries I'm going to do this week, but I think I might do quite a bit, and I think I might actually pick the Jets. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to both our YouTube channels, this one here and our second YouTube channel, Fantasy Couch Podcast. Great way to show support. Great content on both. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Good luck this week. Let's go get that W, and let's win in DFS.